Now, civil society group Stand Up SA has also added its voice on the growing call for a halt in tariff hikes. Founder Khustaz Mtwentwe joins me for more on this chat. Khustaz, a pleasure to have you on the program this afternoon. Firstly, the proposed 36.15% increase in Eskom's electricity tariffs, it has sparked significant public concern. From your perspective, what are the potential impacts of such a hike, especially on South African households, particularly those who are already struggling financially?
Yeah, thank you very much, and good afternoon to your viewers. You see, when I saw that increase as proposed by Eskom, I was horrified. Last year, we went to a march for an 18.65%. And Eskom was able then to grant 10% to call it the lower consumers, and still did not reduce that 18.65% to the middle class and to the higher consumers. Now, can you imagine what a 36% will do? From our point of view, we do not accept this. And by the way, in the next few months, we're going to be mobilizing because we're going to have to go and protest. It cannot be acceptable. And protesters in South Africa generally never lose. So you can imagine that to a person who cannot even afford now, in July, there's another increase coming up of 12.7% from City Power. Now, he or that person is expected to pay up to 36% next year. Surely, South Africans need to stand up because this will affect their bottom line. And what it affects our bottom line, we are dealing here with a state that does not even care. How on earth can Eskom go to NERSA and propose this stuff? It's unacceptable. So no. We will march, we will protest, and protesters don't lose in South Africa.
So, Khustaz, the problems at Eskom have been well documented. How does Eskom's history of mismanagement and corruption then contribute to the current financial challenges that really necessitate for these steep tariff increases?
You're correct. We acknowledge that under the ANC government, Eskom has been mismanaged. But at the same time, we are of the view that the current management or the board, so to speak, has been doing a wonderful job. However, it blows my mind to think that they think that 36% is an acceptable increase. So South Africans are not refusing to pay. What is unacceptable is South Africans paying above CPI-linked increases. These double-digit increases have made us truly to be resentful and to be angry. Now we're looking forward to a new GNU. The question becomes, with this GNU in place, are we going to see a different course of action towards Eskom? My thought says it's highly unlikely. So in short, I'm just saying to you that we are aware of Eskom mismanagement, we are aware of Eskom debts. But let's not forget, Eskom today pays IPPs. If you look at the latest financial number, 44 billion rands went to IPPs that we do not see. Eskom has not added any power for the last years, a couple of years, and yet the cost of electricity generation is increasing. How is it increasing? Except that that money that Eskom has is given to IPPs. Carol Payton, by the way, noted on last week's report says that only 150 megawatts of power has been added for the last 3 to 5 years. So the question we must ask, who is draining Eskom balance sheet according to their financial statements? 44 billion went to IPPs. Where are they? You see, where are they when we're paying so much for them? And I think that is where the crunch of the problem is. Eskom balance sheet is being drained by IPPs that do not make even a contribution today, by the way. Today's Eskom coal power stations, nuclear power stations that are doing heavy duty. The guys at IPPs are simply making money, you see, for free. And these are called take-or-pay contracts, meaning whether Eskom uses the power or not, Eskom still pays. And Eskom doesn't have that money to pay these guys, but they are settled with that. So in short, you've got to understand to say, where does the Eskom balance sheet goes? It goes to IPPs, who are already raking 44 billions. How much has been added? A mere 150 megawatts since 2019, according to Carol Payton. Whether she's telling the truth or not, that's another matter. But there is a little evidence of IPPs that have been added, right? And yet they are getting paid 44 billion last year, 2023. This year is probably going to be higher because they charge higher tariff rates.
Khustaz, as we begin winding down our conversation, what alternatives do you believe Eskom should really explore to alleviate its financial burden without imposing such high costs on consumers, especially given the economic hardships that many are facing in this country?
Yeah, you see, this one is a political one. I can tell you right now, we need to ask a question. Why was Eskom allowed to take on IPPs where they cannot afford them? Why is it that the IPPs could not just work on their own? Why is it that now 44 billion rands of Eskom's money, right, goes to these guys when that money could have been able to cushion our increases? That's very important. So at the political level, here we are with a company that is already in debt, Eskom, being forced to take further debt by IPPs who are not making any contribution. My suggestion then becomes like this. These IPPs must be broken off Eskom. These power purchasing agreements are too high for Eskom, right? Let these guys do things for themselves and let government not back them up with bond guarantees. By the way, in case you don't know, the government has guaranteed the IPP's debt by over 300 billion sovereign debt. It's like your business. You go to the bank and the bank says to you, yeah, well, what is your guarantee? And then you say to you, no, the state will pay. And therefore, you borrow 100 billion rands. All that is guaranteed to the state. I would love to do that. So what has happened is this. At a political level, we have been left dry by the deployees of the African National Congress and government because these guys are Europeans, these guys are Americans, and they're making cheap money out of South Africa. Who's a South African? That's me. I'm about to pay 36% next year. I refuse to do that. So in short, it's a political game where we have been left alone to settle, and they have pleased the American companies who are in the country and the Norwegian companies who are in the country. Europe, French companies are here. They are making free money out of Eskom. So there's an answer to me. We gotta have a government that cares about South Africans. These guys can run their own thing if they want and leave Eskom on their own. But can it be done? That's another question. I doubt though, because we're dealing with people who have generally captured anyway.
Stand Up SA founder, that's Khustaz Mtwentwe, giving us his perspective, of course,